Now to the acting attorney general, Matt Whitaker. If it happens sometime after likely Bill Barr gets confirmed, it would go to him overseeing the Russia investigation. But these filings don't have to, so they're public already, and they're laying this kind of thread, and that's why you see everybody looking at every word, seeing possibly where it leads. I think what this section told us was that there may be an effort to stitch together an obstruction case, the suggestion of the circulating the response before he makes it under oath, the suggestion of talking to insiders at the White House in 2017 and 2018. You don't know where this is going, Jesse, and unfortunately that's the thing that we've had to say every day with these filings. Even they just give us pieces of the picture. We don't have the whole puzzle.
All right, Marie?
Brett, it feels like with this filing, we've gotten another window into Michael Cohen, who, as we know, for decades has worked for Donald Trump, has a lot of insight into the financial dealings the president has had for many years when he was a businessman. The Flynn filing gave us sort of a window into the National Security Advisor and the campaign national security apparatus. The Manafort filing will probably give us some insight into the campaign manager piece of this. So it feels like a lot of pieces of the puzzle are being put out this week, but we don't know what the whole picture looks like. But each of them represents a different part of Donald Trump's world.
Sure. And I think we're going to learn less because I think that the Manafort filing is going to be under seal. It was supposed to be filed by 5 p.m. I think it's going to be under seal, and that means that it's part of a larger investigation.
Don't they have until 11:59 tonight for the Manafort filing?
The end of the day, but it just posted on the docket under seal. So how much that covers, I don't know yet, Kennedy. But I think you're right, Marie. I think there are different pieces that we're learning here. And what we really can definitely say, is Michael Cohen's in trouble.
Yeah.
He's facing some serious jail time. The other one, Paul Manafort, is in trouble. He's facing some serious jail time. And as far as where the special counsel goes, we don't know, but it does seem like it's coming to a head a little bit more.
Nicole?
Hey, Brett, it's Nicole again. I have a question for you. You know, I'm a medical doctor, not a lawyer here, so I'm hoping you can break it down for me and maybe some other people that aren't necessarily understanding. So I'm referring to the footnote that you described on page 4, where Cohen said that he did confer with then Donald Trump, who wasn't president yet, about a potential meeting to gauge Russia's interest about meeting together, having the two presidents, or that Donald Trump at the time and the president of Russia. But that meeting never actually happened. So, you know, I know that Cohen had been with Trump for a long time, so perhaps was Cohen was he saying maybe he wanted to have this discussion for potential financial future if President Trump didn't get elected at that time?
Sure. I mean, listen, you're exactly right. The president said that himself, leaving to Marine One on the South Lawn, saying, remember that there was a good chance that I wasn't going to get elected. He said that to reporters while leaving the White House. And he said, I was doing business. So he could probably say the exact same thing after this filing, that's exactly what was happening. They were talking about discussions about business. Now, fast forward and you get to the election, and where is that interaction with Russians, you know, after that point where he has kind of laid down the marker and said there is no there. It does not detail exactly when these connections happen. Cohen clearly is talking about his interactions with Russians.
All right, Brett, thank you very much. Everybody can see you in about 20 minutes on Special Report.
Could I make a note that the good thing about what's happening to Cohen, he's making Kevin Hart feel a lot better.
Yeah, it's totally blew the Kevin Hart news off the front page. All right, let's bring back Alan Dershowitz, a constitutional scholar from Harvard, who's had a little bit more time to look at this memo. Mr. Dershowitz, are you learning anything more as you read through this thing?
Yeah, I think that we're seeing a coming attraction, a trailer for the Mueller report, in which, in the end, he is going to lay out a circumstantial case of political sin rather than federal crime.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Right, and it's not just that the Justice Department rules say that you cannot indict a sitting president. It's that he's not going to find any crimes. Let's take the concept of collusion. The president says there's no collusion. But even if there were evidence of collusion, even if There was a deal made between the president and Putin. Vlad helped me get elected president, and I'm a good president. You know, I don't favor sanctions. You'd be better off having a president who doesn't favor sanctions than a president who does. That would be a terrible political sin. But I can search up and down the federal statutes, and I cannot find a crime.
What about people say conspiracy to defraud the United States? Would that fall into a category of collusion type of deal?
There is no such crime. It's an absurd notion that you can commit a conspiracy to defraud the United States of America by engaging in constitutionally protected campaign activities. You know, liberals and civil libertarians who love to think of themselves as protectors of the Constitution are so prepared to violate their own notions and stretch the criminal law to fit somebody they don't like. What they don't realize is if Hillary Clinton had been elected, the Republicans would be doing the same thing to her. They'd be, oh my God, destroying those emails. That was a conspiracy to you know, you just can't make up crimes. Crimes are on the statute book, and they're there for a reason. They have to be construed narrowly. There's a principle of law known as lenity. If there are two ways of interpreting a statute, a criminal statute, you must interpret it in